I was looking at the photos. Holy crap, those beautiful, beautiful photos.
Yeah, you
Love
killed
what
it.
you did with the floor there. What
What was that?
is what did you do with the floor? It looks like planks.
Yeah,
Oh, here, I'll share. I'll share. Let me share the screen. Look at that floor.
let's take a look.
That's a nice floor, man.
Yeah, there we go.
Kind of
Yeah,
gnarly, kind of gnarly in places, but it's nice.
oh, it's so beautiful. The when we were building out the studio, we original me and John wanted it to do like a polished concrete. When when the guys building the studio started building it, they were like, "Hey, like we just feel like the studio's like too beautiful. Like, what do you feel about doing? I think it's vinyl, if I'm not mistaken." They're like, "But it'll match the wood and everything." And I was like, "Well, like how much more is it gonna be?" And they're like, "Honestly, man, like we would have feel right just doing polished concrete. Like we'll pay for it pretty much." And I was like, "Okay, go for
Okay. Yeah.
it."
That's pretty
So
cool.
build yourself a John room and you might get free flooring.
Yeah, yeah. They don't want to polish the concrete. Okay.
They even told me they're like it'd be a lot easier and a lot quicker to polish the concrete, but it's just so beautiful. I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that
Well, they did a
spine wall,
brilliant
man,
job.
that
The woodwork on the slats is just really fine. It's
no,
really well done.
they did such a good job. That spine wall has been amazing. Like I didn't know what it does. I just thought it like looked super cool, so I was very excited about it. But literally every single person that has walked into that studio wants the spine wall now in their room.
Yeah, yeah. It works well. I'm using it in a lot of places.
It's
We have GLL files, like they test speakers with dispersion and how it affects the frequencies. I had that tested at the lab and got the GLL files, diffusion, diffraction. Definitely does a thing. Um, the way I describe it is it creates an ensemble when you're
yes.
working or you're working together. You can hear each other, you can just work, and it's not, it's nice. It's not destructive, non-destructive.
Yeah, and actually when we were building out the studios, the live room was ahead of the control room. So when they started working in the control room, I had to move everything to the live room and I just started mixing in the live room
Yeah.
and it wasn't even done. I think it was just like the limp bag membranes and the spine wall at the time.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, I was like, this is already one of the best rooms I've ever.
That's great. That's
It's
fantastic.
awesome.
Well, the thing is, it's not that it's so great, really. It's that your experience in rooms that were drastically undertreated or not treated for the correct frequencies, to sort of flatten out the room, to
Right.
straighten it out.
Mhm.
And that's what this does. You need a certain type of treatment in certain places. Now, this is a tracking room, so it gives you little areas. If you want to move real close to one thing or another, you can get different tones, off your instrument. I'm sure you found.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like oddly enough, like the one of the things you were mentioning right now, uh, I had a really like awakening moment when you're saying like rooms that are undertreated. I feel like a lot of people treat their control room, but almost leave their live rooms completely bare or super minimal treatment. And the
mhm.
first thing I noticed that I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a game changer was the overheads. There was just like a lack of resonant frequencies and it just
Mhm.
was smooth and buttery and like detailed. Like I could actually hear like the stereo field like it was meant to be. And I
Yes.
was like, holy shit, I get it now.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
was It was amazing. And like honestly, that's probably the thing I've been having the most fun with, like messing with room mics and overhead mics, just because I love how the room sounds so freaking much.
Oh, good. That's marvelous. Marvelous. Tell me about what you notice when you work, or you're miking around maybe the slatted treatment or the spline wall treatment versus the diffraction or the 500 units, like the ones behind you.
Yeah.
How does that work for you?
Honestly, it's a little bit difficult to put it into words. When you reached out to me saying like, "Oh, we should do this," I was like, "Man, how do how do I even say this?" Um, like it's a little bit shocking because when you first walk into the room, again, keep in mind that it's a room inside of a room and everything. Like when you close both doors, it is quiet. Like it is dead quiet. So it's already in an environment that you're just like, oh, this is very intense. Uh, but for me so far, when you get closer to the diffraction wall, the spine wall, everything seems to get tighter for some reason and a little bit more controlled. So I do like having the drums in this area still today. When you go to the QRD diffusers or what you call them, John?
Well, they're
These guys?
primitive root. They're prime 17 primitive root, but they're turned on edge. They're not like this. They're not blocks like that. They're turned on edge and they are pass through. So low frequencies just pass right through them.
Yeah.
Since low frequency won't even see them anyway.
So that actually makes perfect sense because for whatever reason, after experimenting a bunch, I'm liking the room mics closest to those diffusers, and it makes perfect sense why I would now.
Yeah, yeah. It gives you a really nice. Well, it sounds like you have more space than you do. Am I correct?
Yes, I do. Hmm.
Because that's what those do. They create a spacious effect.
Yeah.
What we hear when we hear a phase change off the different distances of all those slats creates a phase change reflection. All of them are reflective on the surfaces. The edges diffract 45-degree angles to that edge. Um, the but the flat face just reflects straight
Yeah.
specular reflection. However, you're going to get a sound source and it's hitting those and it's hitting them all at different times. And then they come back at all different times. Therefore, the phase is scrambled. And that gives you a sense of space. Sounds like it's a larger than it is. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's a small room, but every time I've put out any records, everyone thinks it's a huge room.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
marvelous.
And honestly, like it did take a little bit of time to understand like how drums and like organic like acoustic instruments want to be treated in a room like this. Uh like I've always been taught like, oh, don't over compress things or anything. Now because it's so controlled, I can actually hear the compression working for or against me, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not even so much that I'm paying attention to how big the room sounds or anything like that. I'm just listening to the sustain of things because this is the first time that I can hear the tail of transients, and it's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm so happy. That's marvelous. That was the plan, though. That was my. I meant to do that.
But
John Lovitz would always say, "I meant to miss." No, I meant to do that. That was the goal. So I'm glad that we achieved that. That's
and
excellent.
I remember like when I first reached out to you, I was like, John, I mostly do drums. Like I just want this like bigger than live sound. And John was like, no, you don't. And I was like, whoa, what? And he was just like, you want something that's going to represent the instruments correctly. And at the time I was like, what John, I guess John knows best. But now as I've actually experienced it, I have so much more flexibility with this room because of what John said, getting to represent the instruments correctly in the room instead of having a one trick pony room.
Yeah. You could get any kind of kid in there and track any kind of music genre, and it will sound like you wanted it to sound, not like the last session. They're all different. They all have a different tone, a different feel, all this stuff, and you can get that. It's right.
And vocals too. Like the number
Uh-huh.
one thing I get asked about, they're like, you don't have a booth, you don't have like the stupid little guard thing. I was like, I don't need any of that. I put the vocalist in the right part of the room and we just go for it. And it's the best experience for the vocalists too, because they
Yes.
don't feel trapped. They just feel like they're hanging out in a room doing their thing. And it
Yeah.
yields the best performances too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so important to make the artist comfortable and make them allow them to be able to hear themselves and work comfortably, just like and move. It's really important. That is, yes.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Well, I'm making this video and I'm talking about artists like they're not here, but you guys are listening. I know, but it's true, and I know you'll admit it. You'll say, yeah, you're right, John. Artists, and I count as one, are kind of like children. They get real picky and fussy, and they want it this way, and they want it now, and we all do, and so yeah, why not give them that? There's nothing wrong with that, give them what they need, so that you, as a producer, you want to get the best out of your artist. Give them whatever it takes to get them to perform their best. Get that epic moment to happen. So yeah, what it's about.
It's all about the details. So
yeah, I learned early on in engineering. I mean, no matter if you got a good session going, you got stars out there working, make sure the tape's rolling and the red light's on all the time. All the time, because you never know what you're going to get.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm not even flipping. I'm enjoying this picture so much. Here, let's go through. Let's look at another one here. There's your guitars.
If you want to keep going a couple, because
Okay.
that's
Okay.
years.
Okay. Mesa and Marshall. Nice mics.
Bell brass.
There's a nice one.
You ever heard of Flea microphones, John?
Flea rings a bell. Heard.
Fantastic mic. They make this thing called a Super FET 47, and it's just amazing. It's a modern take on a FET 47, obviously, but it has like some sub low end in it too. Oh, we should talk about the panels too.
Oh yeah, this panels here. You had these made for you, which is I highly recommend that when you're installing a studio that you have these custom made for you. There's several companies. Who did you use?
So we used a company called Love It Audio.
Oh, okay. I've heard of them. Yeah.
They did amazing. Like they even showed me some of like different colors, different fonts, all this stuff, and I just like the traditional one. But the cool thing about it is that it's these specific ones that I chose are like rack mounts. So if I ever want to upgrade or change or fix something, I just unscrew it, it pops up, and I can have access to all my IO, and it's amazing.
Right. Yeah, that's the way to go. That's why I drew them on your plans. They're rack space units. You can make them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 space, whatever you want, however many connections you need.
Yeah, genius.
Yeah, beautiful. God, that's beautiful wood. What is that wood?
So it's actually a really funny story. When we were picking out like color schemes, I was like, hey guys, I really want to do like a tricolor thing. So black, walnut, and white. And they're like, dude, like walnut is so expensive. Like we don't have the budget for that, all this stuff. And I was like, okay, what other solutions can we just like stain it? Like, what's the deal? But essentially it's just like um what's the super cheap wood that like pallets are made out of and stuff?
Pine or poplar.
Poplar. It's poplar. So it's poplar, but they put like what's it called? Like not fake, but like they shaved a piece of walnut and put it on top of every
Oh,
single.
a veneer. It's veneered poplar.
Yeah,
Gorgeous. That's
yeah, and
beautiful.
they did
Yeah.
that for every single piece of wood on the
Oh
whole studio.
man, that's
They did
excellent.
a
That
fantastic
is
job.
so well done. Oh man.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like this anymore. That's crazy.
It doesn't look like this anymore. Oh well, yeah, you've got the bot. Yeah, I know. That's, mm,
Oh yeah, crazy to see these now. The drums still look pretty much the same.
do you use that kit for most stuff?
So right now we're using those two toms, but the kick that we're using is this crazy looking thing. I gotta send you a picture of it. It's amazing. It looks like Swiss cheese. It has a bunch of holes in it.
Okay.
It's made by a company called Spawn, and it's
Okay.
like super rare. I believe it's only one of one, so I'm the only person that owns this drum, but it's massive. It's two shells put on top of each other. So there's a maple shell with like a sparkle black on top, and then there's a red mahogany shell with a bunch of holes all over it, and
Oh,
it's massive. It weighs a ton.
but it sounds awesome, huh?
Amazing. Amazing.
Wow, that's brilliant. I'm going to go back. Let's discuss ventilation. You have your ventilation intake or exhaust there on that corner. I see on this photo,
Yeah,
and
John,
then this one.
thank you for that because I can only imagine how hot and crazy it would get in there. The whole band. Yeah, like
Yeah.
God. When John told me about this fresh air exchange thing, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think I've ever even seen that in other studios. Uh, but now like experiencing working with a drummer when we're cutting a full LP on just drums, they're working. They're working hard, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's so isolated that literally it could be 103 degrees outside, but in the live room, it is 70 degrees, no matter what, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, and it's crazy because obviously, like, if you didn't have something like that, just it would get humid and gross and smell. And because the treatment is so like absorbing, it would smell really bad, it turns
Yes. Yeah. Ventilation is critical. Otherwise, you even with a fan, you still end up, or an air conditioner unit like that. You'll end up like Ace Ventura in the Rhinoceros.
exactly.
And oh, tell me, yeah, I've experienced it. So yeah, I
No,
think we all have.
no, I
Anyway,
appreciate
that
that.
is awesome.
It's that's why you hire John. It's those things that you would never think about.
Well, I don't want this to turn out to be a sales video. I don't want to like, hire me, but I mean, you can, of course, please give me a call, send me an email. But this is more about teaching how this works and what doesn't work and what we're learning and that kind of stuff for folks who are thinking about doing something like this. Well, that's a nice little speaker. I didn't know you had PMCs. I don't remember. I just forgot probably.
So I had ATCs, and I think this is a good point to talk about too. When I originally found out about John, uh, me and my buddy JJ were like super obsessed with your work, and then we started to realize that a lot of your clients had ATCs. So I jumped on it right away. He was planning on getting the 100s, I believe, and
Mm.
I just got the 25s because that's all I really needed at the time. When and I told John when we were going to shoot out the speakers, I was like, "Hey, I have ATCs, I have PMCs." And you said something that I wish more people would say. you told me which ones do you feel more comfortable with? And I was like, oh, PMCs, 100%. And you're like, cool, let's shoot that and see how it goes. We shot them. You're like, this looks great. Roll with it. And I was like, oh my God, that was I bought ATCs for no reason.
No, no reason. They're always very useful, very good speakers.
Well,
Um,
amazing speakers, but
yeah,
these PMCs make me very happy in this room.
great. That's perfect. You know, it is kind of a personal thing. You know, for example, I play guitar.
Mhm.
I love an SG for slide guitar. I don't like other ones for it at all. I just don't like the feel of the weight of how it works. Okay, for playing rhythm and lead, give me a Strat.
Nice.
I don't like tellies. I don't like playing tellies. Just they don't suit me. But
Yeah,
see, it's personal. It's how you interact with an instrument. Now, I know speakers aren't instruments, but they have a little. They're all different. They're all different. You know, just like people,
Mhm.
nobody's the same. And there's some people you like more than others, so it's like that. But they can all do a certain job. They can all maybe do the same job, and they can do it well. But
Yep.
it's what you like. That's important. It's important what you're used to, what you like. Um, this mixing and studio design is about perception, and it's about human perception, and we all perceive things differently.
Yes.
Now our measuring instruments will measure it exactly what it is, and it is what it is. That's it. But
Mhm.
we humans will perceive it as one thing or another. And when like we explain how the diffusers or diffraction devices work, and you go, oh yeah, that's right, they do that thing. But it's it's more of a it's more important to have your perception categorized or explained. You can explain how you perceive this. Some I would imagine there's probably people, I have no idea who they might be, that wouldn't like my designs. I'm joking, but uh
Oh,
hey,
John.
wouldn't you like my design? No, just kidding. There's a thing for everyone, and everyone has their perception. They're looking for this thing so that they can work. And basically, studios, speakers, rooms, etc., they're tools. They're just tools. They're not going to make you any better or worse.
Mhm.
With a bad tool, a funky tool. I mean, I've had some funky tools. You will hurt yourself, but you'll
Oh,
get the job done.
yeah,
You know, right?
exactly.
I've got a real cheesy, cheap, handsaw. I can saw with it, no problem, but it tends to want to curve. Yeah. Have you had hand saws that want to do that? I got me this Japanese saw. It's one of got the handle and you pull it. It's a pull cut. You pull when you cut. Have you seen those?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I love it. It's really nice, but it's only for small, fine work when I'm doing joints and stuff like that.
Mm.
It's a tool,
Yep.
but the how well it works depends on the craftsman using it. So that's what this is all about. We're just talking about tools, really, when we're talking about these rooms.
Well, it's interesting you said that because I've had producers come and work here that have the same exact speakers. The big caveat is the room, obviously, right?
Oh yeah, oh yes, of
But because
course.
they're finally hearing the PMC perform to its full capacity, they're like, dude, what did you do to your PMCs? Mine sound nothing like this. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. It's just the room. Literally, it's just putting them in a good room and you will uncover so much more potential, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could put a shitty speaker in this room and it sound good. It
I'm
would.
sure.
Uh, it makes these shine. Of
Yeah.
course, you take these and put them in a shitty room, and they'll sound shitty too. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Oh boy. Yeah. Love the dogs.
Gotta love the dog. Gotta represent.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I see you don't have a lot of space, do you? Oh dear. Well, well, I have to keep plugging you and get you so much business you don't know what to do with. You'll have to build big facility somewhere. And
Yeah.
just joking. But yeah, that's the way it goes. The rule is, what they say in Nashville. He who dies with the most toys wins.
There you go.
It's just like it never ends, man.
If that's the case, I'm winning so far. Uh, yeah,
Oh,
but essentially right now we're looking into like all the three racks that your pointer was at right now.
yeah, yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
hopefully figure out a way to make them taller. Unfortunately, that's gonna be worse for the treatment. But just
Not
to give it
really.
more
No.
space.
You probably, you could do with probably a couple of my board type racks. They're diffraction grading all around the sides so that they're kind of invisible. They don't really mess with the sound in the room. But I tell you what you do,
Mhm.
bring them up to the height of your desk. See this desk right here? No higher than this for the front edge. And you can tilt them quite a bit more, but then that'll give you space below where you can put stuff down, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, they don't have a rack rails underneath, but maybe it's
Mhm.
just a matter of
Well, you
installing
can
them.
add, you're going to have to modify them if you're going to do that anyway.
Yeah,
This gear right here, I don't know what you're thinking.
I know. The
Well,
the
I'm sure you can hear it.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you just adjust to it, but it's
Yep.
it's better not to have a permanent installation like this. I see that's why you had your speaker cables going down all the way because you're doing remote.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, be careful if these are tube amps, aren't they both?
all of them, yeah.
Yeah, watch that impedance. Make sure it's correct impedance when it gets to the speaker. Long speaker lines. These things don't like it. Oh, I can tell you a story. When I was working for Jeremy Spencer,
Hmm.
ex Fleetwood Mac,
Hmm.
he had his own band. We were playing in Paris, and he had this really good guitar player that he worked with. And the guitar player was always too loud, though. Jeremy kept wanting to turn him down just a little bit. I said, I got an idea. I don't know, 20 something then. I was young. So I said, I got an idea. I'll fix it. So he had this Fender Bassman head that he's played through. It sounded gorgeous, his old black face Fender Bassman. So I run his speaker wire, but then I split it and run a speaker wire all the way down to the console where we're doing front of house mixing,
Hmm.
and I put a pot on it so I could adjust the resistance.
You
I,
troublemaker.
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's troublemaker. Hey, how do you think I learned all this shit? I blew up a lot of stuff. No, anyway, yeah, that's what happened. So they were jamming, and we had go-go dancers, jumping around and all kinds of crazy stuff. And he's up there playing, and all of a sudden the smoke starts billowing out the back of that amplifier.
Oh
Then
man,
flames. And then we go, whoa.
dude,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I the guitar rack thing that we were just talking about, all the amps and all the cabs go into a switcher, right? So I can just toggle through all four heads and all four
Oh,
cabs.
brilliant.
Um, so it's really cool. But to John's point, make sure the impedance is set up correctly because I had the switcher blow out on me because some of them got crossed when we were patching them back in.
Yeah.
So you learn. You do definitely learn from your
Yes,
mistakes.
indeed. Oh boy.
Uh,
It's
John,
all good.
the Borg desk, how many rack spaces does it have? Do you know off the top of
There's
your head?
12 on each side, left and right. Um, 8 in front of you, and then 6 down on the bottom on the right and 6 down on the left.
Do you have anything that's like a mastering desk, like where it's just like
Yeah,
two bay?
yeah, I do. Yeah.
We should talk about that.
Well, we can talk. Yeah, talk.
Yeah, because I feel like even if I could just move that
I could do
gigantic,
you something custom. Yeah, that's a large flat surface there.
yeah, like if I
But your
could get,
speakers are they forward or are they just at the edge of the desk? You're
they're on the,
probably not getting too many bad reflections from it, but
yeah, exactly.
we could, you probably need something custom to get you what you need right there at your fingertips. Because you keep having to roll over to the side and twiddle, and you're not in probably an okay position to do it. In my rooms, tell me something.
Yeah.
How does it feel when you move out of the proverbial sweet spot to go over there and adjust something? Can you
Amazing.
adjust it over there?
Mhm.
You don't have a
Like,
problem adjusting it there.
yeah, so far for me, it feels fine. The one thing that I do have issues with, and I think it's mostly where my head is at, is when I'm dialing a guitar tone, right? And I'm
Yeah.
standing up or reaching up to dial in the amplifiers, right? So I'm not getting in the sweet
Yeah,
spot or
you're
whatever.
not in the dispersion of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
clean frequency dispersion of the speakers. Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm dialing the preamps and EQs, it's actually a really good situation because my head kind of stays. I can just roll and my head stays pretty much
Yeah.
where the speakers are, and the
But you're
room just
not, but you're out of the sweet spot. See, this is what an issue I have with people calling it the sweet spot, because there really shouldn't be a small bubble where you have to sit. It should be as large as possible, and that's what I'm
Yep.
trying to accomplish when I design these rooms, is so that basically the room is the sweet spot. If
Yep.
you're in front of the speakers, you should be able to hear everything you need to hear. That's the goal anyway. We don't always accomplish it, but that's the
You
goal.
did on this room for sure.
But yeah, that's great, man. That's really great. There he is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See this stuff right here? As Joan Rivers would say, can we talk?
Yeah. Like dream setup at this point would be fork desk with all the gear in it, put the rack next to exactly right there,
Yeah,
almost like
yeah,
behind the PMC,
yeah. We just kind of get it from here, from the corner of this right here, so you can just walk through here without this here. Have all your stuff right here like this, and then I don't know, maybe extend it around here, but that's it. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Dreams.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah,
stop.
you gotta keep dreaming, keep moving, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh
But
man, this is beautiful photos. May I post some of these?
of course, always
Okay.
welcome to.
All right.
Yeah, but it man, it's been so cool. Like the second, oh, I, oh,
No, I just stopped the screen share.
the second I took those photos and kind of like put them out, I got so busy like immediately, just
Yes.
people wanting to come in. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that, like, especially with the acoustics, we don't really talk about, like how that perceives for the client too. Uh,
Yeah.
and I've been in business for a year now with this studio, and I've recorded bands from Venezuela, from Spain, from Hawaii, and I'm in Los Angeles.
Huh,
So
yeah.
it's not even just like the local community that's been helping out, but it's really abroad and it's becoming more of an international thing. And it's really cool because of your Facebook group too. People will reach out to me all the time asking me questions about the design, how big the rooms are, blah, blah, blah. And it's really cool, John. I think you really, beyond just making great designs and great sounding rooms, you've built a really cool community as well.
Yeah, I love the community. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
so
good.
thank you for allowing me to be a part of this too.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you. Serious, serious. I'd be nothing without you guys. You know, I'm just you know, but I will comment on the thing about your photos and stuff. People love eye candy.
Oh,
The
yeah.
thing is that most people don't understand is that physics is beautiful. And if you design something by physics, you know, going, well, we need this to do that here in this position, and you place it like that, you go, wow, that's really cool looking, you know? So it just ends up that way.
Yeah.
So we don't
Uh,
pick it for what it looks like. We pick it for what it does and what we need in that position. So yeah, there we
and
go.
it's fun for me. Like, you know, a lot of artists in LA will like go shopping studios or whatever. And technically this is a home studio, you know, it's a way over the top a home studio, but it's a home studio nonetheless. Uh, but no client ever thinks about it that way, which is amazing because they'll always be like, "Oh, my friend wanted to record us, but he doesn't have a real studio like you." And every time someone
Yeah,
says you have
yeah,
a real studio, I'm like, "Wow, like that's so awesome." But even though this is in my home, you don't feel like that. Like you feel like you're in a legit LA big time studio or whatever it might
yeah.
be.
Oh yeah, yeah, buddy.
Mhm.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. Raul, it was really a pleasure talking to you, and I really appreciate your input on everything. And 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 thank you for doing this for everyone.
Yeah, thank you. I see.
We'll need to do this again. Okay.
100%. And let's talk about that Borg test soon.
Okay. All right. Well,
I might
WhatsApp
need
about it.
Okay, cool. Well,
All
thank
right.
you for everything done. Get some rest. I know it's late.
Yeah, it's quarter past midnight here right now.
Yeah.
Typical for me. This is like, yeah, it's SOP, standard operational procedure. Anyway,
Nice.
I'll talk to you again soon and really appreciate you. All right.
Take care,
See
dude.
ya. Bye.